Okay, guys, welcome to part two. We are going to continue on from where we left off. Um, we we use quad draw to on a live surface to begin the modeling of the face. So, continuing off from where we left off. So, one thing that I've noticed is if I bring back the image of the facial topology, is that we have this orange loop of polygons here, kind of like a mask. Okay. Um, what I have here, if I follow this edge loop around here, you'll see that once I extrude out here, this is going to come around and it's going to meet up with this one. But this one goes up and out that way. Okay, so if I go in, well, let me get out of quad draw and I'm going to isolate this guy. So if I select this loop of faces, basically what I want is for this to come around once I extrude there and then go back into the bridge of the nose. But what's happening is this edge loop goes that way. So what I'm going to get is this weird edge loop of polygons that comes around this way and then goes up into the head. Okay, so I'm going to try to get this so that it's not coming around like this and going up. I'm going to have it come around and cut across the bridge of the nose. So that's just going to take a little bit of restructuring here. And this is normal. Always adjusting and fixing things. So again, turn quad draw back on. Make sure that my head is live by hitting that magnet there. And if anytime you want to make your head not live anymore, just click that again and it'll toggle that off. Alright, so here we go. Let's see what we can do here. Now again, like I did before, I'm going to use my multi-cut tools to just sort of lay things out. Even if the geometry gets kind of bad, that's okay, because right now I'm just trying to visualize here what I want. So I kind of want that geometry to run that way. Excuse me. Let's take this here. Okay, so I want to create an edge loop that comes around and goes that way. So now let's do a little bit of cleanup here. Go back into quad draw, Control Shift, and I'm going to get rid of this edge loop here. Control Shift, I'm going to get rid of this edge loop here. And Control Shift, I'm going to get rid of this edge here. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to get rid of that edge because that's one of the ones that I want. So I'm going to keep this one. So now I have to find a way to get rid of this triangle here, and I think the easiest way would just be to simply run an edge loop through here. And believe me, all the stuff going into the nose can get pretty complex. So that geometry going in there, I'm okay with. I'm going to go back into quad draw here, maybe just slide some stuff around so that it's not all bunched up like that. And then let's see here. Now I can delete. Control Shift and click this guy here. So now I have my edge loop sort of going that way. And let's just make it pretty here a little bit. Maybe bring this down just a bit. Again, we're not doing anything super detailed right now. We're just sort of laying in our geometry, making sure that we have what we like before we commit to that and start going in with the details. So, you know, you're going to probably do a lot of switching around your geometry to get things to work better, and that's perfectly fine. So here we have a triangle here now. How do we get rid of that guy? One way is to go into multi-cut and sort of cut through to here. Okay. Oh, I smoothed it by mistake there. Go back into quad draw and then get rid of that edge. And then just sort of smooth out your geometry a little bit so it's not too jagged. Let's move this guy up here. That one down there, this one down there. So you'll see me do this a lot. Once I make changes, I'm going to go back in there and try to fix some of the edge flow so things aren't just don't look bad. Just make it neat. A bit of a perfectionist when it comes to this, but you kind of have to be to get the geometry to be the way that you want it to be. Now, that said, I will not be overdoing it. I don't need things to be perfect. I need them to be smooth enough, but they don't need to be perfectly smooth, because remember, human faces are not really that smooth. So we want to make sure that you do it just the right amount. So now we have this edge loop here, and it's going to come around and go around to make that sort of mask shape right there like we wanted. Now the other thing that I'm seeing here is the width of this span right here doesn't really match up with the width here. So I might want to split this one here. So again, I'm just going to hold down Control and middle mouse click to split that span perfectly in half there. So now the width of this span is sort of pretty well matched the width of this span here, so that's going to make sense. So let me hold down Tab and pull this out, and then hold down Tab and middle mouse this so we get the whole edge loop. Take this vertex and snap it there, and then just adjust as needed. Okay, now don't worry about getting it perfect just yet. We're gonna keep adjusting as we go. Okay, maybe there, and then these two need to come together here, and maybe bring this all the way around like this. So obviously we need to, there's a lot of places that we could start to cut in a little bit more geometry. So let's see what we got here. So let's move that. I'm gonna get out of quad draw. I'm gonna hit Control 1 to just show this by itself, and then now you can see what I meant. If I go like that, I have my sort of mask going across here. All right, and then while we're here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in my view here. Now what we have going on here is obviously we're not centered to the grid here, and that's okay. For right now, that's okay. We will, before we go out into the body, we're going to make sure that everything's lined up. So for right now, don't worry about it too much. But what I am going to do is I'm going to select all the sort of center line vertices, and I'm going to scale them straight. Okay, just to define that center line for me, make it straight. I might move them back just a little bit. And of course, those will get adjusted as we go. I'm not going to try to shift this over right now because the 3D scan head isn't really shifted there. So I'll do that after I get done with the head. So just bear that in mind. My pivot point is way down there at the bottom of the grid. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Modify. I'm going to center pivot. That's going to put it there, but I'm going to align my pivot with that center line of edges there. So I'm going to hold down D and V, and I'm going to middle mouse drag that across and snap it to that center. Okay, so now if I go back in my perspective and I go to Edit, Duplicate Special, I'm going to do an instance. In fact, I'm going to reset first, then I'm going to do an instance, and I'm going to scale it in -1 in the X, because all my characters always face forward in the Z-axis, because that's kind of standard in Maya. So scaling in -X is going to give you the correct mirror. So you can sort of see now how we're starting to form our face there. Okay, so you can if you want to hold on to that instance and leave it there, that's fine. I'm just going to delete it because I don't need it right now. So I'm going to hit Control 1 to get out of my isolate selection. I'm going to select that face and go back into quad draw. Okay, so now what we can do here is sort of decide the way that the face is going to work, we're going to have another 5-star collection of polygons here. So I can decide whether I want it here or back here somewhere. I'm kind of leaning towards having it here. So what I might do is bring this here, and now that 5-star is going to happen there, so that when I hold down tab and pull this out and let that merge, you'll see that I have my 5-star right there. I think it's probably a better position right there. So that's what I'm going to do. And then now you will see that we're starting to go back into the cheeks there. You'll see that the geometry flows that way. And we've now set that up. We're starting to go back that way into the cheek area and into the ear and the back of the head. Okay, so just hold down tab and sort of pull these out here. Just merge them. So we're starting to get these bigger shapes right now. I'm not trying to be detailed. Getting there pretty good. Let's define the jawline. I'm going to take this, sort of start to define where that jaw is. Hold on tab again and pull this out. Now there's 2 different ways that I might do the jaw. I might have this strip of polys come through and then turn and go up. So to do that, I would have to do it like this, and then hold on tab and pull this one that way. So that flows upward. The other thing that I can do is to just have this run into the ear, and then, you know, I'd probably cut in something here and have that sort of run upward. Either way works. Remember that the ear is going to have way more geometry than this area of the face generally. Okay, so we're going to have to do some tricky stuff with the ears to get all that geometry to merge with this sort of lower resolution cheek area, because there's not that much going on right here in the cheek, so you don't need a lot of geometry, but there is a lot going on in the ear. So you're going to have to get creative about how you connect the 2 areas. Okay, so with all this geometry running into the ear, I think this way is how I'm going to do it this time, and we'll see if that works. If not, I can always go back in and redo it. I'm going to test that and see if I like it. So just in that vein, I'm going to split this. Hold on control and middle mouse click to sort of split that edge loop there. And again, that's just more geometry that gets to run into the ear. Now, regardless, I am going to have to be kind of tricky about how I connect these 2 parts, because the ears are just really, because there's so much detail going on in there, and a lot of curvature and all this stuff. You know, there's just no getting away from using a lot of polygons in there. So just bear that in mind. So let's continue sort of defining the edge of the jaw there. Okay, and then I might start to split this. Again, I'm adding detail where I think I need it right now. You'll see that my polygons are very very rectangular right in here. What we're gonna want when all is said and done is our polygons to be pretty close to square. Obviously it's not gonna be perfect, but this polygon here is an example. You see how quite square that is compared to something like this. You never want to have polygons that are this far rectangular. You want to keep things as even and square as possible, because this, I believe I'm going to put this into ZBrush at some point, and ZBrush tends to like things that are closer to square. And just, you know, as a general modeling thing, is just to keep your polygons as even as you can. Right now I'm still working at it, so I'm not trying to do it right now, but eventually when I'm all done, I'm going to try to keep things as close to square as I can. Obviously it's not going to be perfect, but we'll get it as good as we can get it. Okay, so now here I can sort of go forward this way and start to define the actual chin itself. sort of figure out where that is. So something to that effect. I might hold down tab and middle mouse out to pull out those edge loops. And let's line this up in here. Okay. And control middle mouse click. So put a little bit extra detail in there. Now remember that this is going to run out into here. So we're going to have to make sure that this geometry lines up with the geometry coming out of the mouth. Okay. Let's do it again. Hold down tab, middle mouse drag out. See if we can get this point up. See, right there. Merge that there. And remember, anything you do can be changed later if it doesn't work. So don't spend too much time trying to overthink it. Just do it. If it doesn't work, come back and fix it. I used to get into this issue where I would sit there trying to make a decision, and an hour would go by. I still hadn't made the decision just because I was, trying not to make any mistakes and trying to get it perfect. Forget about that. Just put something down. Just put something down there. See what it does for you. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you don't want to just sit there being unproductive. Just put something down, and eventually something's going to work for you, even if it doesn't work right away. So here, I'm going to hold down Shift and sort of put my mouse between these two edges here. That's going to create that polygon right there. So now I'm starting to connect, and let's say that one. Okay. Now I'm just going to slide these across here. Okay, because I will probably end up bringing in another edge loop in here. So I want to make sure I have space. What you want to make sure you do when you're modeling like this is that you don't want to have places that are just way too tight in geometry and then right next to places that are just really loose in geometry. So make sure you spread things out and get things looking the way that works. So I want to make sure that I create enough room. So hold on Shift again, and let's fill that right there. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that so far. And again, anytime I move anything on the center line, I'm obviously breaking that center line that I straightened earlier. That's okay. I will do that multiple times over the course of this model, so it's not a big deal. So I'm holding down Shift here, Shift, click, Shift, click. So what I have now is a triangle here, and I'm going to close that off. So the situation I'm finding myself in here is I have this triangle here, and I have a really wide span here that needs to be sort of subdivided. So I'm going to just split this in half. Okay. See how much geometry I need coming out here. So again, I'm just going to hold down Shift and come here. Okay. This will probably need to be split as well. In fact, it will definitely need to be split. Otherwise, we're not going to have very good detail in that chin. So split that. Now we can probably just get our multi-cut tool and cut down through here. Okay, that will give me, so if I go back in quad draw, and then I can use the multi-cut again to cut from here to here. So we haven't really fixed the problem. We've just made that triangle smaller. Okay, and right now I'm not too worried about it. I know that I will come back in and fix it. So let's just adjust what we got going on here. Chances are I might need to subdivide this and this again at some point. So let's see what we have here. And you'll notice that I jump around the model because sometimes I'll get in a rut where one part isn't really working that well for me in that moment, and me just sitting there trying to fight with it is just not productive at all. So I will just jump over to a different part of the model, and then when I've had time away from that one part, I will come back, and most of the time when I do that, I find that coming back, it's a lot easier to deal with that part. Okay, so if you just get sort of stuck in this rut trying to fix a certain part, just leave it alone for a while. Come back at it later when you got fresh eyes. Okay, and you'll find that things sort of fix themselves at that point. So let's see here. Now, with triangles, there's different ways you can handle triangles. You can just, cut through like this, and what that's going to do is that's going to make, and I guess I just want to, and by the way, if you want to know the shortcuts for quad draw, keyboard mouse shortcuts, open that up, and there you go. So I need to figure out how to delete a single edge without deleting the whole loop. So this will do faces, delete edge loop. So you can see some of those. So I don't think there's a way to delete a single edge without deleting the entire edge loop. So yeah. So in a situation like this, what I can do is just get out of quad draw, and I'm gonna have to isolate. Oh, wrong one. So control 1, and I'm just gonna do this by hand here. So now that's sort of quadded out here, and then I can go back and do my quad draw, and now I can sort of adjust things to make this work a little bit nicer. There. And maybe pull this out a little bit here. Okay, so, and then of course I need to control click, and then use my multi-cuts to connect these points. Go back into quad draw and start to fix this up a little bit. So we do get this sort of weird area right here, but that's okay because it's under the chin and shouldn't cause us too much of a problem. So I'm going to leave it as is for right now, and if I have to revisit that later, that's fine. I will do that, but for right now I'm okay with that. Okay, so we're building a pretty nice chin here. So this area right here, see how this is sort of very square, this corner. Maybe I'll start to move this up to sort of round this out to match up with the loops of that mouth. So I might have to bring some stuff up here, and that should work nicer. So let's see here. Okay, so let's try to figure out how we're going to connect some of these here. So again, it's just endless tweaking, moving points, trying to get things to work. So I'm going to hold down tab, middle mouse drag to bring that entire edge loop out to there. Okay, let's do the same thing again. Middle mouse drag that. And I may need to bring this up a little bit more. I may need to cut in another edge loop, but once again, anything I cut in here is going to go into the ear. So I'm okay with that because again, the ear is incredibly high, very detailed compared to the side of the face. So let's go ahead and put an edge loop in here. I'm just using my middle mouse button to put it in. That way I know it's splitting that edge loop exactly in half. And anytime I do that, I tweak my points. Let's go ahead and do one here too. Okay, so I'm starting to get relatively detailed right in here. Okay, so that's fine for right now. Again, I'm going to do the same thing here because and the reason I do that now is because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need that. So I might as well put it in right now. If you're not sure you're going to need the detail, just hold off for a while until you're sure. And bring this just so that these corners aren't that sharp. I like to sort of give it a nice flow. And then the way that the mouth, let's look at it this side. If you look at the side of the mouth here, you'll see you have this little bit of flesh right in here that sort of the lower lip sort of curls underneath that, and this is coming from the upper lip and down over. So there's a little bit of curl over right there. So all this detail in here is going to help with getting that looking good. And let's keep extruding this up here. So, we're going to do something like that. And I'm guessing I'm definitely going to have to cut to split this. Because again, I want sort of evenness. So if I have spans this short, I can't have it right next to a span that's this wide. Okay, so I'm going to have to split that there. And then I might even bring this down here to sort of make these smaller. And, start, round this out a little bit so that it's sort of aesthetically pleasing and follows the edge loops of the mouth a little bit. And again, I don't need perfection. I need it to look good, but you don't want it to be perfect. When you're modeling an organic object such as a face, remember that it's not like a car where, car panels are made in a factory by a machine, and they really have to be perfect, because you don't want a bumpy panel on the side of your car. You want it to be perfect. You want the lines to be perfect. And if you're modeling a car, that's something that you have to take into account. Modeling a human being, human faces are not perfectly smooth like that. Human faces have bumps and imperfections and things like that. It's what makes us human, right? So you want to make sure that you have that in your model. Okay, so continuing, I'm going to just add the detail where I need it. And this, we can connect this here. And you can see the edge loops are coming out. I'm probably going to need another one in here, possibly another one in there. So at some point, it's going to get pretty dense in the mouth, and that's okay. That's just going to allow us to get really nice sort of mouth animation. Okay. Let's just keep going. Middle mouse drag that. Connect it. Okay, just going to keep going and laying this out. Okay. So we're starting to seal up that gap there, and at some point we're going to have to get into the nose, because all this is going to matter there. So we can get into it right now. Just going to hold down tab and pull out an edge loop there, and what I want to do here is just sort of define that sort of nostril area right in here. Pull this out. And again, I'm going to start real low res. And before I continue, just want to make sure I save, because I really hate to redo stuff, even if it's 2 minutes worth of work. I really hate that. So I try to remember to save as much as possible. So I'm gonna move this out just a bit there. So right now I'm just trying to define that area and what it's doing. So this is all trial and error. Like I say, I have not pre-modeled this ahead of time to make sure that everything works. I don't have it sitting on another screen modeled, and I'm just trying to redo that. This is all. I don't have the time to model ahead 5 times, for a demonstration. So you're gonna see the mistakes. You're gonna see where I mess up, and I think that's important. When you're learning, to understand that you can make mistakes, and that's okay. You don't have to get it perfect the first time. In fact, I never get anything perfect the first time. But that's how you learn. Okay, so if you do mess things up, it's not a big deal. You can deal with it. So let's split this. And do I want to connect this? Maybe. And I'm going to split this way. Okay, and let's middle mouse drag with tab twice. Sort of bring this up into the nostril area. And then we got to remember that we have, and I totally forget the name of this little divot right in your upper lip. We got to remember that's got to look right as well. So let's see. I'm going to cut across here because I don't have enough detail there. And it looks like I'm going to have to do here as well. Okay. And let's see here. If I hold tab and bring this in and just bring this to sort of the edge of that nostril and do another one here, I can start to define where that's going to be. So let's pull this down here. Oh, I extruded twice, so let's try that again. I'm gonna snap that point there, then I can move this sort of back here and pull this one down here. Okay, let's see if I like this edge going across here or not in a sec, but let's go with it for right now. We can always come back and change it out. Okay, and let me split this. Okay, so you'll see as I need detail, I'll put it in. I try not to do that before, unless I know for a fact that I'm going to need it. And now we can just hold on Shift and close this off in here. And we have our nostril formed right there. I think that'll work. Okay, I'm going to split this to sort of detail a little bit better. There and there. I always tell my students that as far as knowing how much detail to put in, there's no limits. If you're not working in video games, you're doing stuff for film, or just animated films. I find that there's really no limit in detail in polygon count, because computers today can handle it. I mean, even if your character is 2 million polygons, your computers nowadays can really handle that. That might, if you're sort of like an independent sort of filmmaker, you do little animations, maybe 2 million might be too much for you, but that just depends on the model and what it is. I don't bother myself with polygon limits and all that. I just model. I'll put in the detail that I need. So I tell my students all the time is use it. If you need extra detail in a place, put it in. What you don't want to do is have detail that have extra polygons where they're not needed. If you can get the exact same amount of detail with fewer polygons, then you want to do that. Don't waste your polygons, but if you need them, use them. Okay, so the way this girl's nose is, she's got a bit of like a bulbous sort of mass right in here, and that sort of lines up with this edge loop here. So just to lay that out and so I can see it, I'm just gonna extrude up and around there. And again, I'm just trying to resolve this. Now, I don't think I want this to curl back there. I think I might want it to go this way. See if that'll work out for us. Because now we have this sort of nostril mass on this side that we have to account for. So, and then this middle mouse click there with control to split that 50-50, then hold on tab, middle mouse drag up to take the edge loop, middle mouse drag up again to there, and you'll see that now this lines up perfectly in here. So middle mouse, and let's see if I can seal it all at once right there. Perfect. Okay, and I'm gonna go in and tweak again because I'm kind of OCD about that. So now this nostril area. So you can see that by running these polygons right down through here, this edge loop right here, sort of my nasal labial fold area. Okay, so, and you know, her nose, this part of the nostril is not as strong as it is in some people, and the front part of the nostril is a lot bigger than in some people. I think if you look at this guy here, see that this part is really not as big as the one I'm modeling, and this part is a little bit stronger. This is just going to depend from person to person. So just work with it however you can. I'm going to put some detail in here, which is now going up in that eye area that we started at. And maybe this guy here as well. So this will go here. Let me extrude to here and here. And let me see if I close that off there. What I kind of want is, so let's bring this around here. If I go to my multi-cut tool, just to define that bit of nostril there, let's try that again. Here to here, notice I'm not going to go to the point there. I'm going to do the same thing here. And maybe to there. Just sort of defining that there's a little bit of a crease there. It's not very strong in this the lady that was scanned for this, but I can make it stronger given that this is kind of my character, and you have the freedom. If it's your own thing, you have the freedom to sort of design it how you want. You don't have to make it the exact duplicate of the person. So I'm going to take my multi-cut again, and this time I'm just going to run it here. And I'm going to control, and you can cut in edge loops from multi-cut or quad draw. Right now I'm in multi-cut, so I'm going to control middle mouse click, and it's going to put that edge down the center perfectly. So go back into quad draw. Now I can close this off and then just sort of tweak my edge flow here. And we want to get that rounded nostril side thing here. Okay. So let's see. I'm probably gonna do a polygon there, I think. Okay. this forever, tweaking as you need to, and save. Okay, now I think, yeah, you can see that I've gone too far here, so I'm just going to bring this back here. Really hug that nose there. Maybe pull this back just a taste here. Okay. Now, here's where I got to do a little bit of experimentation. So I'm just going to hold down Shift. I'm going to put that in there. See if I like that. Let's go ahead and slide. Now, there was a shortcut for sliding. What is it? Control Shift, middle mouse button. So Control Shift, middle mouse button will slide your edge. So that works. So I'm just gonna, spread this a little here. Control Shift, middle mouse. I'm gonna slide this edge a little bit just to make a little bit of room. And let us control middle mouse click in there. So now I can seal this off here. And then now I have to resolve all this geometry that's coming through there. Let's see, do I need any more? Yep, I think I need geometry in there and in here. Okay, so I'm getting pretty dense here. That's okay. Another tool that we have here is if you hold down Shift, you'll see that I hover on my mouse, I can do a relax. So I can sort of paint relax these edges or faces, or so I can do it on a face, I can do it on an edge, I can do it on a vertex. And if I hit B, you go into soft selection. If I hold down B and drag to the right, it sort of increases my brush size, or drag to the left to decrease it. Then if I hold down Shift, I can sort of do it over that area. Now you got to be careful with this, that it might start to push things away from where you wanted them. And then hit B to turn it back off. So I'm gonna see if I close this off here, and now I have this, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided polygon here. So I need to find a creative way to get rid of that, and I think I could use an edge loop in here, which will then, if I hold down Shift, put a polygon there and a polygon here. I'm not in love with this area right here so much. Let's see if I can make it work a little bit nicer. Yeah, I'm not loving that. So and again, I don't model heads on a very regular basis, so I kind of have to almost relearn it every time because I don't do it very often. I'll do it a lot at the beginning of a project, but once the characters are modeled, then I'll be on to other stuff, and I never really have to model a head again until the next project. Let's try to get rid of this guy. We have a triangle here. So let's see if we can then run this up through here and then just add in, so Control and middle mouse button, and then cut from here to here. So I do this a lot to get rid of triangles. So delete this guy here. So we just sort of move this up a little bit. And I don't know, let's let's add in some geometry here. This span is a little too big for my liking. So now we have this to deal with in here. I'm just going to delete this right now and see something here. And let's middle mouse drag. See, you can move the entire edge loop. I don't know if I want to do that there, so I'm just going to do that, and come down there. And the reason that I like this little thin line of polygons here is because that's going to support the edge of that nose pretty well. Okay, but I don't think I really want this coming through there. So maybe if I do a little bit of restructuring here. So run this there. Go back into my quad draw, sort of move things around a little bit. And I'm probably going to end up putting another edge loop in there. Yeah, probably will. So now we have to get rid of this triangle by, let's do that again. There to there, here, and see how I want to run this here. All right, let's just put down some edges, and so let's go back to quad draw and sort of slide things over. So because I've put that in there, it's getting really tight in there, so I always like to spread things out so we don't have sort of disparity of detail there. Okay, I'm going to save, hit enter. And at this point, might be a good time to do an incremental save. So save scene as, and then I'm going to put a 2. So girl 02. And then continue. Okay, so it's good to sort of incrementally save every so often. You don't want to do it every time you save. I have a guy that I worked with that every time he saved, he'd make a new file. And by the time the project was done, he literally had hundreds and sometimes a couple thousand scene files. But you want, you don't want to do it every single time you save, but you want to do it every so often. Once you hit certain milestones or whatever, you want to save as a new file. Because it's rare, but I have had Maya crash on me so hard that it corrupted the file. And if you've been working on a model for 30 hours and you get one of those kinds of crashes, not a good time. So incremental saves are good because once you do that, then the file you are working on is now safe from the potentials of crashes and corruptions and things like that. So just keep that in mind. So in here, I'm going to create a little bit of space. Okay, and the reason I'm doing that is because I have to resolve this 5-sided polygon right here. And we're pushing on 48, almost 49 minutes. So let's get to a point where we can stop this video. And now I can hold on, control, middle mouse click, and run this in here, and then do my multi-cut to there. Still have this guy to worry about here. So this guy. Let's do some tests here to see what we can do. Now I try not to have triangles in my model, but if I have a triangle here or there, I'm not gonna be too worried about it. But let's I don't think we're at that point yet. Okay, why is this? Zoom in here. Oh, we got separated points in here, so I'm gonna try to merge those. There we go. So that happens sometimes. If you find it, just merge them and you'll be fine. Okay, so you know, we're getting there. We're getting there. So this going through there. Trying to think how I can work my way out of this triangle here. So maybe if I run this up this way and then go back in quad draw and delete that. See, I'm still not really loving this zone right here. I mean, that's all quadded out, but it's just not very pretty. I don't like how that geometry is coming down through here, then making this sort of abrupt upward change in direction. So let me maybe go here. Okay. I really don't want that edge loop to go there. I want it to go up and above. So let's see here. Let's multi-cut this here. Oh, go back into quad draw. Delete that. And now I have two triangles here, which if I delete that guy and then maybe move this a little further up here. Okay. Then try something here. Quad draw. Delete that. So I think I'll probably like that better. Okay, so then we have to control middle mouse click, and that's going to split that in half and multi-cut it. Oops. There to there. Okay. So, yep, I think I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm probably going to add geometry in here, so and here and here and here. So this is going to be a pretty high-res model. So I will be adding in quite a bit of geometry. So while we're here, let's go ahead and split this in half. Start to detail that a little bit more. Okay. And just to seal this off, let me see, where do I want this to flow to? Sort of down this way, so I might cut in something there because this one may have been too far for my liking. So hold on, tab, middle mouse, drag out to close that off there. And let's see, sort of adjusting as I go. So I'm liking what I'm getting here. Maybe something here. And I know I'm probably going to cut in here, so let's do that now. And I'm probably going to cut in here. And the reason I'm doing that now is just so I can smooth this out a little bit here. I'm going to turn on my soft selection, hold on, B, and just use the relax to sort of spread things out and make things a little bit nicer. So okay, that'll work for now. Remember, I'm not trying to get anything finalized and perfect just yet. Most of this stuff is still going to get moved around as I go. Okay. There we go. So, all right. So for right now, I'm going to get out of Quadro. I'm going to save. Then I'm going to isolate this mesh like this. Go back in my front view again, and let's straighten out our center line again. So vertex mode. Select all those center vertices, and there we go. Slide them back just a little bit. Okay, go in object mode, and again I'm going to move my pivot to line it up with that center line. I'm going to hit Control Shift D because I had the settings from before. So we're getting somewhere here. You can see that the face is sort of coming together. Okay, that's a pretty good representation of that face, and you can see, remember that little bit of meat that I was telling you about that sort of flows from the top lip over, and you can see that there, and then you can see this sort of fleshy area right below that bottom lip over on this side. So that's a very good start, very feminine face. It's looking very good. Let's isolate. I'm going to make this, I'm going to disable live by clicking that, so now I can select this. I'm going to isolate that, and let's look at some of this stuff in here. So just looking at details, just how the mouth, this upper lip area sort of flows into the nostril. Bit of a shelf there. Okay, so just keep that in the back of our minds there. And there's a bit of sort of a, if you can sort of see it right there, a little bit of a crease in there, so I want to make sure we do that. Then notice that the lips, there's a bit of a hard crease on the lips there, and also here you see that it's a bit, the crease on the lower lip is harder here than it is over here, and that's partly due to that sort of fleshy area here. It's a lot softer, so we can keep it tight here, but then we might have to spread our edges out there. So let's bring the other guy back. So let's make this live again. Select that, go into quad draw. And I'm hoping that having my instance here is not going to be causing any. Make sure you get out of smooth mode. Quad draw, at least on my computer, is slow enough as is. So, okay, so instance will work, so we can have the other half. Now, what you'll notice is that, of course, things aren't going to line up perfectly, because, again, humans are not perfectly symmetrical. So we're just going to keep that in mind. So I'm going to move this here, maybe bring this up a little bit, just to create that little crease there, like is in the reference. All right. I'm not. Yeah, I'm gonna move this up here because that span seems a little too big for my liking. And yeah, let's go ahead and put something in there, and then that way we can now spread this out here to make it even. It looks like we're going to have to do it all the way around the loop. Okay, was it Control Shift middle mouse? Yeah, that's not going to work very well here. So Actually, the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to get out of quad draw. I'm going to select my mouth there. I'm going to select these edges, click here, double click the next one. It'll select that edge loop. Hold down shift and right click, and I'm going to slide my edge. So slide this up and sort of slide it down up to the center. Okay, so again, go back into quad draw, and I'm gonna hit Control 1 to bring back the underlying mesh. And now we have a nice smooth surface. Okay, we could probably try to slide this. Let's see if the quad draw version will work. Yeah, not bad. Okay. Oh, and by the way, guys, I hope I'm not mumbling. I know sometimes I will tend to do that. I apologize if that's the case. Once I get in the zone, I start to maybe mumble a little bit. Hopefully that hasn't been very bad. But I will make an effort not to. All right. There we go. Okay. Still not loving how wide this is in here. So I'm going to bring this back here. Maybe bring this up here. So just restructure a little bit to try to deal with that. There we go. Something like that. That's a little bit nicer. Let's bring this back here. And that might work a little bit better. Okay. And we are just over an hour. So, yeah, we should probably end this one here. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you watching. Please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. I will keep working on this. I will update as soon as I can. I do have a full-time job, so I have to use my time wisely, but I will try to work on this as often as I can. That way we can get moving on this character here. So I'm going to save my work, exit quad draw, and let's just get one last look at this head. Smooth it. And that's pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a new material on there. So since we're going to be using Arnold shaders, I'm going to do an AI standard surface. And I'm going to delete my history. That's something that you should definitely do, is delete your history, because it's probably building up a lot by now. I'm going to freeze my transforms as well. No, here. Let us, you have to delete the instance, so now it's deleted. I can Control Shift D and bring it back. And I like to have a shiny surface. So if I go my attribute editor, look at my standard surface, I'm gonna maybe darken it a little bit, and let's There we go. Let's increase the roughness a little bit there. So having a shiny surface allows you to see imperfections. If you got a lot of imperfections, it's easy to see with the shiny surface. So far so good. I'm liking how it's looking. And I will get to the next part as soon as possible. Please like, comment, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.